All right, I've had a few of these plow controls come across the desk over the winter season, and I was testing them with ohm meters, and they're not too bad, pretty basic. Sometimes it's just a cord replacement. You get a new replacement cord. And I was testing them with the ohm meter. I got a little tired of that, so I whipped up a little test fixture. Let's take a look. All right, so these things are not too complicated. They're fairly basic. Got a cord, plugs into a Molex, goes into your unit. It's got these touch pads. These tend to get dirty, kind of oily, and don't want to respond very well. You want to be careful not to rip these posts off. Looks like there's already one gone. So what happens is these gold contacts sort of get dirty and crusty, and the same with the rubber conductive pads over here. And when you've got these gold pads, the best thing you can do is an eraser. And not one of those abrasive erasers, just good old-fashioned schoolhouse eraser. They tend to clean those contacts pretty good. Give it a little isopropyl. Let it dry off. The same with your rubber pad. You don't want to scrub much. Just give it a little bit. Just get any of that little debris that might be on there. The buildup from sitting in the cab and the different change in seasons. Another thing I like to do is put a little drop of deoxit. Just sparingly. In fact, you just need to put that one drop and take your Q-tip and spread it around on there. Same with your rubbers. I don't even rub them. I just kind of let it get in there. That'll help them make contact. So then you can reposition your little rubber locators in your holes. Don't force them. Don't let them get bent over. And if you give it a good push on the other side, and just a gentle tug, it'll pull that rubber stopper all the way through. Like I said, this one looks like it's already been broke off. So now this one had a bad relay on it, so we're waiting for relays to come in. Now this one is a little different. It's got the carbon contacts on both sides. So if you look in here, it's got this carbon. It's not the gold plated, it's a carbon. And it's the same thing. Just take a little deoxit and just wipe across it. And the same on the rubber pads. You don't want to abuse them too much. They can get to the point where they're not conductive anymore. And when that happens, you just need to replace them again. Push right behind it. Give your little tail a tug. It'll seat right in there very nice. Okay, so this one's got all of them. This one's getting a new cable. So let's go ahead and change it over right away. Just very easily pull this connector out. Check to make sure they're the same. Okay, that wiring looks good. We'll put this cable in the spares box. That's a nice tight connection. Now normally what I was doing when I was testing these is I've got all kind of little pigtail Molex set up, males, females, and I could put them over whatever connector, and then I'm able to tie power to them or put a meter across them. I've got the 90s, the 60s. There's a little bit of an assortment. I've got more of this stuff too. But but I got a little tired of doing that. So I did a little hack and slash and whipped me up a little test fixture here. It's very crude, and it's all parts box stuff. And what this lets me do is test this thing out. So I can go ahead and plug it in, turn it on, shows power. You see our light lit up. See that light lighting up in there? Then you can push the power on. Power on button came on. And then as you push these, the different lights are going to sequence. So this one here is the pump. It's always going to come on with everything except lower. So if we do raise, see the pump came on and the raise valve came on. There must be a timer in these things because you hold it, it goes off. If we go left, we've got pump, and then these two trigger a valve. We go right, the pump goes on, this one triggers a valve. And then lower just opens to let the hydraulics and let the blade fall. You can also, if you hold this, if it's got a float option, it'll float. You can see that valve's staying on. Hit the raise, it comes off. And let's check that again with the float. There's our left. There's our right. Funny, that one goes off, huh? So again, our left, our right. You see how this shows actually the action? So left, pump goes off and then the valves close. Pump goes off, then the valve close. Same with the raise. Pump goes off and the valve goes closed. Seems like I would make it drop a bit. So let's take a look inside this thing. Like I said, this was all just scrap. I just threw this thing together and gaffer taped the box closed. And it's very crude and rude in here, very hack and slash. This box was something that was salvaged, just laying around in the junk drawer. Box of extra fuses, wanted the fuse in there. Had a bunch of these batteries laying around, so we'll see how they hold up. Power switch, and you got some LEDs buried underneath here, because this is all very rude and crude. That's going to one of the LEDs. The resistors are just buried in some heat shrink, kind of tie wrapped together. Fuse holder I put in just for safety. So what I don't have is a legend on this thing, and that's what I want to do real quick. So what's it hanging up on? Come on, now it's going to close, right? I think the fuses are hanging up. So again, just some gaffer's tape. Very hack and slash project, just knock it together. And it makes it real easy to check these things now. Let's give it another check. Oh, gotta turn it on. Raise, lower, left, right. So like I said, I wanted a little legend, so I whipped up a piece of artwork and printed it on sticker paper. And if you want to protect this a little bit better, you get some of that nice thick packing tape, put it over your decal as carefully as you can. And then usually after I've got the tape on, I'll take X-Acto and I'll carve out the edges. So let's see how well I did. How if I missed something there? So I didn't cut the bottom. All right, let's get this bottom cut off. And let's chamfer these corners just to make it look pretty. Now we're going to stick this right here. Maybe like that. Oh, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And like I said, I put batteries in there. We're going to see how the charge holds up. This doesn't get used a whole lot, so it should be okay. So we power on our unit. Raise should be these two. Lower should be this one. Right should be these two. Left should be the three. These two and this one. And we can see our cables working great. Now another thing that goes kind of wrong with these things is, and I believe I already fixed this one. So these posts usually wind up, the screw that goes in here, which I don't have, it only goes this far and it winds up breaking this post off. So what I do is I super glue them back on, I put a little piece of heat shrink, then I'm going to get a longer screw. I wind up drilling a clearance through this so that this goes all the way through there. It doesn't really grab on that. It'll grab some new meat in the plastic. And that's pretty much it for this one. Just wanted to share that little fix, just wanted to share that little tester with you and show you what we've been up to. So that's it. Made ourselves a cheap little test fixture to test these cables. And like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.